Do you know when the modern era of Indian history began? The modern era in India dawned in 1857 when the Indian soldiers rose against the rule of British East India Company, which functioned as a sovereign power on behalf of the British Crown in India. The soldiers were joined by native rulers and thousands of ordinary people. Although unsuccessful, it became the first major widespread and organized mutiny by the natives against the British rule, which lasted from 1857 to 1858. This landmark event in history is known by various names like the Sepoy Mutiny, the Indian Mutiny, the Great Rebellion, the Revolt of 1857, the Indian Insurrection, and even the First War of Independence. But why did this mutiny take place, and why was it so widespread? Well, no single factor was by itself enough to start such a major mutiny. In fact, it was the cumulative effect of many causes such as political, social, religious, economic, as well as military, which acted as catalysts to turn a quiet discontentment into a much more serious rebellion. Political cause. By the mid-18th century, the previously dominant Mughal Empire was collapsing, and the native and European states were attempting to carve out their own power bases. After successfully battling the French for trading supremacy and involving itself in local politics, the British East India Company became India's leading power. Following their victory at the Battle of Plassey in 1757, the East India Company annexed many Indian states on various grounds. Lord Dalhousie was the Governor General of India from 1848 to 1856. Under him, the British policy of expansion reached its climax when he implemented the doctrine of lapse. Under this policy, any princely state or territory under the British East India Company would automatically be annexed if the ruler died without a natural male heir. A large number of Indian rulers and chiefs were dislodged, thus arousing fear in the minds of other ruling families who apprehended a similar fate. In the course of 8 years, Dalhousie annexed states of Satara, Jaipur, Sambalpur, Jhansi, and Nagpur. This policy enraged the Indian rulers. As part of the policy, the pension of Nana Sahib, son of Peshwa Baji Rao II, was discontinued after his father's death. The state of Jhansi, ruled by Rani Lakshmi Bai, was annexed as she did not have a male heir. Dalhousie further proposed to abolish the title of the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah II after the latter's death. Furthermore, the annexation of Awadh by Lord Dalhousie on the pretext of maladministration left thousands of nobles, officials, retainers, and soldiers jobless. This measure converted Awadh, a loyal state, into a hotbed of discontent and intrigue. Economic causes. The British East India Company exploited the economic resources of India and drained her wealth by crippling the Indian industry. India turned into a colonial economy to serve British capitalist interests under the company regime. In rural areas, peasants and zamindars were infuriated by the heavy taxes on land and the stringent methods of revenue collection followed by the company. Many among these groups were unable to meet the heavy revenue demands and repay the loans to money lenders, eventually losing the lands that they had held for generations. After the Industrial Revolution in England, Indian handicraft industries had to compete with cheap machine-made goods from Britain, and there was an influx of British manufactured goods into India, which ruined industries, particularly the textile industry. Social and religious causes. The British believed that Indian society had to be reformed. The abolition of practices like sati and female infanticide and the legislation legalizing widow remarriage were believed as threats to the established social structure. English language education was actively promoted by the British, which directly challenged the Orthodox Hindus as well as Muslims. Moreover, after 1830, the company allowed Christian missionaries to function freely in its domain and even own land and property. In 1850, a new law was passed which allowed an Indian who had converted to Christianity to inherit the property of his ancestors. Many Indians began to feel that the British were destroying their religion, their social customs, and their traditional way of life. Even the introduction of the railway and telegraph was viewed with suspicion. Military causes. The revolt of 1857 began as a Sepoy mutiny. Indian Sepoys formed more than 87% of the British troops in India but were considered inferior to British soldiers. An Indian Sepoy was paid less than a European Sepoy of the same rank. Poor terms of service and pensions, lack of promotion, and increased cultural and racial insensitivity from British officers contributed to the feelings of discontent among the Indian soldiers of the Bengal Army. In 1856, Lord Canning issued the General Services Enlistment Act that required that the sepoys must be ready to serve even in British land across the sea. Crossing the sea in those days meant loss of religion for the Hindu sepoys, and this was largely protested by them. Gradually, anger and resentment spread across all sections of the society, but the incident of the greased cartridges became the final whistleblower. A rumor spread among the sepoys that the cartridges of the new Enfield rifles introduced by the British were greased with the fat of cows and pigs. Before loading these rifles, the sepoys had to bite off the paper on the cartridge. This was objectionable to both Hindus and Muslim sepoys, and they refused to use them. This rumor spread like wildfire and sparked off the revolt in late March 1857 when a sepoy named Mangal Pandey attacked British officers at the military garrison in Barakpur. This incident had a ripple effect in the country and soon spread to Delhi, Agra, Kanpur and Lucknow, which rose in rebellion against the British rulers. In months to follow, a fierce and prolonged mutiny took place primarily in North and Central India. And although the British were able to suppress the mutineers brutally, they certainly learnt their own lessons too. The East India Company was finally abolished in 1858. India was directly brought under the Crown of England, and many political, economic and military reforms were introduced. The national movement in the 20th century drew its inspiration from the events of 1857. A whole world of nationalist imagination was woven around the revolt. It was celebrated as the first war of independence in which all sections of the people of India came together to fight against imperial rule.